Brooksaw Antiques here. Today we have this 1934 Underwood No.6 vintage desktop typewriter. I'm going to show you how to use the functions and make sure they all work. Up top is the adjustable paper guide. This helps you guide the page in straight. And I like to line that up with the edge of the platen and this left paper finger. Also, you want to make sure that that right paper finger is lined up so the paper slides through nice and even. Margins are up front here. This is the right margin and this is the left margin. You just want to make sure that the margins are in between the paper fingers so you don't type over them. Once you hear the bell, you're at the end of the margin. You hit the slide space, skips it back to the beginning and skips 1, 2, or 3. Right now we have it on single, but if you want double, you flip the switch down 1, skips 2, 1 more, skips 3. That works good. We're going to keep it on single for now and keep typing. As you can see, all the keys type nice and none of them skip or stick. I'll type a sentence in red on the next line. This has a black and red ribbon, so you just flip that switch up here on the right side. If you can see that right here. So if you have it all the way to the right, it prints the top portion of the ribbon. If you have it all the way to the left, it prints the bottom portion of the ribbon. And as you can see, the red is on the bottom. Very nice typing machine. This model and the 5, 4, and 3 models dominated the market for like 3 or 4 decades in this time. So it was the 3, 4, and 5 were the first models that came out that were visible writers, meaning that you can see when you're typing. The blind writers were before that. The Remingtons had, when you type, it comes from underneath and you have to feed out the paper to see what you typed. So this was revolutionary and very popular still to this day. Probably the most popular typewriters I sell are these desktop Underwoods. And this one's absolutely beautiful. Nice glossy black paint. Backspace on the left side here, that works good. A shift on each side and a shift lock on the right side. To clear that, you just hit that left shift button. And this one has a decimal tab, so I'll show you how to use that real quick. So most typewriters will have a tab, and very rarely you'll see one with the decimal tab. And to set the tabs to back here, they are manually set, so you just take out this little tab and put it wherever you want to stop on. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and it's got a scale in there too up top to tell you exactly what space you're on. So what we're going to do is just hit the period, and that's basically like a regular tab, and all the rest of them will do 1 space. So what we'll do is we'll do 0.00, and we're in red, so we're going to keep it on red. Go back to the beginning of the margin and you hit the 1, and do 1.00, and so on and so forth, do 10, 100, and 1000, and do a close-up on that. So as you can see, the decimal point stays at the same spot, but the numbers go 1 digit to the left with the decimal tab. So that's pretty cool if you're dealing with numbers, finance, or anything like that. These are really nice to have, so you can get to that spot without having to do spacing and guessing where you are on the page. What else we got? We're going to put this back to the right side. If you have it in the middle, it doesn't print anything. That vibrator doesn't go up at all. So you can just leave an indentation on the page for copying purposes. This is your ribbon ratchet and your ribbon reverse. So if you push it in, you'll pull to the left, and that's where we want it because all the brand new ribbon is on the right side here. And you can ratchet it, wind it up. And if you want it to pull to the right, you just pull this out like that. And we just want it to keep pulling that way, so that works good. Carriage release on each side. Very nice. This is your paper release. And back here, this is where you tighten. If you want to tighten your carriage, you just get a screwdriver and just turn it clockwise like that, and it'll tighten up. Right now I have it where I want it. But if it's not pulling strong enough, then you just turn that And if you want it to loosen up, you pull this down. So you just pull it down. You gotta loosen up this screw to get it to pull down, but if you loosen up this little screw and pull this down, it'll loosen up your mainspring. And on this side is the carriage release. That works good. Very smooth. This is your line space disable. So if you push it up, it'll disable the line spacing when you turn the knob so you can get to an exact spot on the page. Push it down, get those clicks. Each one of those clicks is one space. Same concept. When you pull this knob out, it'll disable the spacing. You push it in and you get those clicks. And that's it. Now available on eBay or Etsy. Search Brooksaw Antiques.